Welcome to this IELTS Listening Practice Test, brought to you by Spinta, your partner in English exam success. This test simulates the real IELTS listening experience with authentic question types, timing, and difficulty levels you'll encounter on exam day. You'll hear the audio only once, just like in the actual test, so stay focused and keep your pencil ready. Remember to read the questions carefully during the preparation time and transfer your answers accurately. This practice will help you build confidence, improve your listening skills, and familiarize yourself with the IELTS format.
Part 1. Now look at Part 1. You will hear a woman calling a local sports center to book a court. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, Meadowside Sports Center. Oliver speaking.
Hello. I'd like to book a court for this week, please.
Certainly. Are you a member?
No, not at the moment. I just want to book as a guest.
That's fine. Can I take your surname for the booking?
Yes, it's Peterson.
Could you spell that for me, please?
Of course. It's Peterson.
Thank you, Miss Peterson. And what court were you looking to book?
A badminton court, please.
Okay. And what day would you like?
Do you have any availability on Wednesday evening?
Wednesday, yes. We have a court free from 8 till 9 p.m. Would that suit?
Yes, that's perfect. And what's the price for that?
For non-members, the cost per hour is £12.
£12? Okay, I'll take it.
Great. I've booked that for you. Your booking reference is SC, for Sports Center, followed by the numbers 884.
South Carolina 884. Got it. While I have you on the phone, could you tell me a little bit about your membership options?
Certainly. We have two main types, peak and off-peak. The off-peak is cheaper, but the peak membership gives you access to all our facilities at any time, including the swimming pool.
The pool. That's good to know. And what's the gym like?
It's excellent. We've just had a major refurbishment, so it has all brand new equipment.
New equipment? Great. Is there a minimum contract?
Yes, we ask all new members to sign up for a minimum of 1 year.
1 year. Okay. Are there any special offers for joining?
There are. At the moment, all new members receive 4 free guest passes, so you can bring a friend along with you.
Guest passes. That's a nice incentive. How do I apply?
The easiest way is to visit our website. You can fill in the application form and set up your payment details online.
The website. I'll take a look. Thank you for your help.
Part 2. Now look at Part 2. You will hear a guide welcoming visitors to a new technology museum. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the National Museum of Technology. My name is Beatrice, and I'm delighted to be your guide for this introduction. We are so proud of this new museum, which we believe is a truly unique space. Our mission from the very beginning has been to inspire young people to study science and technology by showcasing the incredible innovations that have shaped our world. Now, if you'd all look at the plan in your leaflet, I'll quickly show you the layout of this floor. We are standing at the main entrance, where you'll also find the information desk should you have any questions during your visit. The very large space directly in front of us is the main exhibition hall, which we've named the Robotics Hall. This is where you'll find our most popular interactive displays. To the right of the Robotics Hall is the Innovation Hub, or as we like to call it, the Future Lab. This is where we showcase cutting-edge technologies that are still in development. Now, if we look to the left of the Robotics Hall, you'll see a smaller gallery. This is the Retro Zone, which contains our wonderful collection of historical computing, from the very first calculators to early home computers. Next to that, you'll see a series of small, darkened rooms. These are our immersion pods, part of the VR zone, where you can try out the latest virtual reality experiences. The pods do need to be booked in advance at the information desk. The Robotics Hall has our star attraction, the Robo-Soccer display. This is a match between two teams of autonomous robots. Please note that this is a demonstration that takes place at scheduled times only. You'll see those listed on the screens around the hall. Now, just a few important rules to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable visit. The most critical one is that food and drink are not allowed in the galleries under any circumstances to protect our sensitive equipment. Please use the cafe for any refreshments. We have a special program of evening events called Late Night Lab. These are very popular and feature talks, workshops, and music, but please be aware that they are strictly for adults only. Finally, your feedback is very important to us. As you leave, you'll see posters with a QR code. We'd be very grateful if you could take a moment to scan the code with your phone and complete a short survey. It helps us improve the museum for future visitors. Right, that's all from me. I hope you have a fantastic time exploring the museum.
Part 3. Now look at Part 3. You will hear two business students, Samuel and Ananya, discussing their project on corporate social responsibility with their tutor, Dr. Peterson. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Okay, Samuel, Ananya, let's look at your plan for the presentation on corporate social responsibility, or CSR. What were your first impressions of the topic?
It was interesting, but the main challenge for me was that companies' own reports can be misleading. They only highlight the good things, so it's hard to get a balanced view.
An excellent and critical point. So let's look at your structure, the introduction. You explain what CSR is, but what's your main point? The key argument needs to be clearer. You need to tell us what you're setting out to prove.
A clearer argument. Okay. Then we have a section on environmental reporting. You've just described what companies include in these reports.
Exactly. This section needs more critical analysis. You should question whether these reports lead to real change, or if they are just for public relations.
More critical analysis. Got it. For the section on employee volunteering schemes, we found a lot of information on company websites.
And that's the issue. For a university-level project, these sources are not sufficiently academic.
You need to find journal articles or independent research on the topic, not just company blogs.
We'll find some academic sources. Then we have our analysis of consumer surveys on CSR. The data you've used here is from 2015.
Yes, public attitudes have changed a lot since then. More recent data is required for this section to be valid.
Okay, we'll find newer surveys. Finally, your case study of Global Coffee Corp. You're trying to cover everything from their fair trade policies to their recycling programs.
It's far too much for a short presentation. The proposed case study is too broad. You need to narrow your focus.
So, Ananya, in your reading, what did consumers seem to care about most?
It was interesting. I thought it would be environmental issues, but the surveys I read suggested that a company's treatment of its employees had the biggest impact on consumer perception.
A key finding: people connect with the human element. Now, about that environmental reporting section, how could you make it more analytical?
Well, instead of just describing what they say, we could be more critical by comparing their stated goals with their actual results. We could see if they actually did what they promised.
That's a much stronger, more analytical approach. And for the case study, as I said, it's too broad. My suggestion is that you focus on one specific initiative that the company runs. For example, just their adult literacy program. That will allow for much greater depth.
Focus on one specific initiative. That makes sense. So what's our first task now?
We need to go back to the beginning and draft a clear project outline based on all this feedback. We need a solid plan before we do any more research.
Precisely. A good outline is the key to a good project. Start there.
Part 4. Now look at Part 4. You will hear a lecture on the topic of mycorrhizal networks in forests. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. In our last lecture, we discussed forest ecosystems. Today, I want to delve deeper into a fascinating, hidden aspect of these systems: mycorrhizal networks. These are vast, complex underground webs, sometimes called the Wood Wide Web. They are formed by fungi, which connect the individual trees and plants in a forest. The relationship between the fungi and the trees is a classic example of symbiosis, a mutually beneficial partnership. The network itself is made of fine fungal threads called mycelium, which fuse with the roots of the plants. This connection is vital for both partners. The fungi are much more efficient than plant roots at extracting certain resources from the soil, particularly water and key nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen. They act as a vast extension of the tree's root system. In exchange for these essential nutrients, the plants provide the fungi with the one thing they cannot produce themselves: carbon. The trees produce this through photosynthesis, converting sunlight into sugars, and they pass a significant portion of this energy-rich food to their fungal partners. So this network effectively extends the plant's own root system, allowing it to access a much greater volume of soil than it could on its own. For many years we thought this was simply a resource trading system. However, more recent research has revealed something even more remarkable. It turns out that plants are also using this network for communication. They can send chemical distress signals through the network to warn neighboring plants of an attack. For example, a tree being eaten by insects can alert other trees, which then have time to raise their own chemical defenses, making them less palatable to the attackers. The network also allows for a different kind of support. Scientists have observed that large, older trees, which are sometimes called mother trees or hub trees, act as central nodes in the network. They are connected to hundreds of other trees. These hubs can use the network to nurture younger saplings that are growing in the shade and struggling to get enough sunlight. The mother tree can send them the excess carbon they need to survive and grow. This shows that the network isn't just about individual survival. It is about the health and resilience of the entire forest community. The well-being of these intricate networks is therefore vital. Unfortunately, many human activities, such as intensive logging and deforestation, can cause severe and lasting damage to these delicate underground systems, with consequences for the health of the entire ecosystem. Understanding these hidden connections is therefore crucial for developing more effective forest conservation strategies.
And pencils down. You've survived another IELTS listening marathon. If your brain feels like it just ran a mental obstacle course, congratulations. That means you're doing it right. Want to torture yourself with more tests? We mean enhance your skills? Head to Spinta.org. That's Spinta.org, where we've got reading, writing, speaking practice, and vocabulary games that are actually fun. Yes, fun and IELTS in the same sentence. We're rebels like that. Thanks for listening with Spinta. Now go treat yourself to something nice. You've earned it. Spinta, push forward. Achieve more.